Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, and welcome to Clint Pasillas, host of Dodgers Terry. Obviously, that's the Dodgers version of Pinstripe Territory, and reigning world champion podcaster over here. So, Clint, how's it going, my man? How you been doing this year?
I'm personally doing better than the Dodgers are feeling and looking this year. All that said, they're still in first place, but all part of the long season and all that kind of stuff. And you'd hate to have, a perfect story all 162. So it's been fun.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have played now 56 games. I'm surprised you don't have 56 wins or at worst 54, 55 wins. What's been the story? You guys have struggled a little bit out of the gate here.
Yeah, well, it's funny. They were great right out of the gate. They go 8-0 to open the season, and then things start kind of coming undone there. Injuries, man, that's been the biggest story of the season. They make a big splash in the offseason, adding Blake Snell to the starting rotation. He's only made 2 starts, I think 5 innings under his belt, 7 innings or something like that under his belt for the totality of the season. Tyler Glasnow continues to be an injury-prone arm. He's been missing for most of the season. And, all of those injuries. You got injuries in the bullpen, and it's just been a struggle for the pitching staff. Very, very painfully middle of the pack at best. That's where it's been. But still, again, they find a way to have a 2-game lead over the Padres, over the Giants, and it's just it's strange that they're there. But I guess that's what you pay for, depth on depth.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about Shohei coming back to pitch at some point? Is that realistic?
It seems that way. Honestly, that's exciting. The plan, the goal, the hope is sometime around All-Star break. They've been slowly ramping him up. That's the target the Dodgers have in mind. Dave Roberts has told us. Still the idea, obviously, as a Dodger watcher, fan, podcaster, I've only seen Shohei in Dodger blue as a hitter. And, breaking news, he's very good at that. So you wonder how that's going to affect him, if he has to also be throwing a baseball. But at the same time, you see the stuff. And, he threw a bullpen last week in New York at City Field, and the stuff looked filthy. The stuff looked nasty. You've seen him, what he can do on the mound. So there is something exciting about adding somebody, a front of the rotation dude who also, he hasn't won a World Series, but he's won a World Series as a hitter. He's won a WBC as a pitcher and a hitter and all that kind of stuff. So to get him back, you just hope it doesn't affect other things. But I mean, the rich get richer.
Well, I'm actually, I think baseball's better when he's doing both. And, I was curious as to how they were going to get him work, because you can't really send him off on a minor league rehab assignment when he's leading the league in home runs, right? And stealing a ton of bags. So what is the plan? Is it just for him to throw side sessions, moving forward?
Yeah, that's been one of my biggest questions for about the last 5 months. It's like at some point you start thinking, how do they do this? And they kind of have a little bit of a blueprint from what they did with the Angels in 19 or 20 or whatever it was. It's just going to be live batting practice. He could throw to Dodgers hitters. They can call up some minor league dudes who need extra work. He's essentially going to build up before that night's game and try to get him to a starter's workload. I'm sure his first start, he'll be at maybe 45, 50 pitches max, and be expected to go about 3 innings. But they don't need to have him ready to, throw a complete game the second he slots back into that rotation. By then, especially, they should have enough arms to kind of piggyback and figure it out where, with the Dodgers, it's always just about, all right, let's get through the regular season. The postseason is where everything is, what all the focus is at. So that's where you got 2.5 months to get Shohei built up to hopefully a 90 pitch workload, and he could be a starter. But it's definitely going to be an interesting watch to see how that affects his his work as an MVP hitter and your leadoff hitter for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I want to talk a little bit of pitching here, because we've got some interesting matchups here. 2 really good pitchers throwing in this series at least. We're going to see Max Fried and we're going to see Yamamoto. Jury's out on who the Yankees will pitch on Sunday, whether it's Carlos Rodon, who's been phenomenal, or Ryan Yarbrough, who's done a really nice job filling in as kind of spot starter. But give me the scouting reports on Gonsolin, Knack, and obviously season 2 of Yamamoto, he's been dominating.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about Yama last, but Tony Gonsolin has been interesting to watch this season. He's somebody who, when he was healthy before he blew out his elbow a couple of years ago, was very, very good. He was an all-star pitcher for this team, and he's kind of had a little bit of a slow restart to his career, jumping back in the starting rotation. That said, he has been somebody who's been able to give this team some innings, something they need desperately, while the bullpen has been decimated by injuries. So he's, in my opinion, he's pitched a little bit better than the numbers tell you. That 4.68 ERA. Of course, ball don't lie. That tells you he's given up that kind of earned run average, but still, the eye test tells me he's been a little bit better. Landon Knack, he is somebody who's struggling in his sophomore season, struggling with command, struggling with the first hitter of each inning of each ball game. But when he wants to be the man, he needs to have the command, and that's when he's at his best. And he's somebody who can give you 4, 5, 6 innings, be a solid, he's a solid spot start dude. He shouldn't be in the rotation right now, 100%. Again, you're missing Snell, you're missing Glasnow. Just got Kershaw back a couple of weeks ago, but he's filled in admirably while other guys haven't done anything. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, before the season, I kind of just BS'd. I was like, hey, this is my Cy Young Award pick for the 2025 season. So far, I've looked pretty smart about it. There's my Nostradamus hat for you, if you will. Yoshi has been phenomenal. He had a 2-start run where he was a little off, gave up a few runs, and ballooned his ERA from 0.93 all the way up to 1.98 or something like that. And now he settled back down in his start against who I think he last did face the Mets, but he's been very, very good, and honestly is a true Cy Young Award frontrunner at this point in the National League.
What's been the difference between him last year and this year? I mean, I know he had a good year last year, but I don't recall him being dominant to this level.
So this is actually something we asked Dodgers pitching coach Mark Pryor about recently on Dodgers territory. Shameless plug there. And one of the things Pryor had told us was, 1 year in the league does help you out. You can kind of game plan a little bit better. But another big thing has just been him putting in work on his body. Of course, had the shoulder inflammation last year that caused him to miss about 3.5 months. He just showed up, a little bit before the postseason. And if they didn't have him, obviously, as you know, as a Yankees fan, they don't have him. They do not even make it to the World Series, let alone win it. So it's just, I think, a little bit more seasoning. I mean, this is a guy who was like the man in Japan, 3-time, I forget the name of their Cy Young Award over there, but he's won it 3 times. He's very, very good. It just took that one full season to kind of adapt, learn his body, learn the MLB baseball a little bit more. And what you're seeing is like, okay, this is why teams wanted him. This is why your team, my team, are both up there in that $325 million range to try to sign him, because dude is legit.
I think you guys are going to see some good pitching this weekend too. Max Fried, he's also a quite wealthy man these days. Undefeated, 7-0, 1.29 ERA, just completely dominating. Will Warren is a guy who over the last month or so has really come into his own. ERA of, I believe, 2.05 in his last 4 starts. He's a rookie. Last year he was horrendous, but he just has completely turned it around. He misses a lot of bats, more strikeouts than innings pitched. And then depending on who you see on Sunday, Yarbrough, I mean, you guys know he's a mix and match lefty who, I mean, he's just a crafty guy. But Rodon has been pitching like lights out too. He's just been phenomenal. I don't know how much you saw of him with the Giants, but he's pitching a lot like that guy. Yeah. So
yeah, he
right.
he was pretty dang good with the Giants. I'll say with Yarbrough, I do wonder if they're going to give him his World Series ring ceremony or something like that. He wasn't part of that team, part of that run. He was traded at that deadline, but was a part of the team early in the season. And on Max Fried, I will say, as somebody sitting here with the benefit of hindsight, I'm just like, God, I wish we would have signed Max Fried over Blake Snell, just because you look at those numbers. He has been so dang good for the Yankees, and I would argue, just from the outside looking in, like a massive reason why the Yanks have been so good in the AL East this season.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. He's been a revelation. Let's talk about players to watch. I mean, obviously, you got the 2 big home run hitters, Shohei and Aaron Judge. And it's just going to be fun seeing those guys go back and forth. You wonder if the little ticker will say, 7 more hitters until Aaron Judge, since
Yeah.
he is hitting 391 right now. But I just kind of wanted to know, like, from an offensive side, who on your team right now is swinging the bat good? Who do you have a good feeling about in this
Yeah.
series? Who do you kind of think could make an impact that maybe we're not thinking about?
Yankees fans, hold your breath, clutch your pearls for a second, because I'm going to mention the name of Fredward Freeman.
Yeah.
He has been on a tear. The type of swing that you saw off of the dearly departed Nestor Cortez, he's still got that swing going right now. He's been money, man. Like arguably having the best season of his career here at age. What are we at? Where are we at? We're at 35 now. The swing is smooth. The ankle is still a little jacked up for him, but he's still getting his doubles. He's still finding ways to drive in runners. So Freddie is somebody that's always going to cause a problem for any opponent, and usually opens the game. You get our buddy Shohei Ohtani. It's probably on first or second if he's not trying to steal a bag or something like that. Mookie's kind of sorting some things out, but to the question, I'm watching Freddie, and right behind him is Teoscar Hernandez, because that dude has just been nails as well when it comes to the clutch gene. That's a man that has it.
Two Yankee killers who are swinging the bat well as we go into play them. Plus Otani swinging the bat well. It's not going to be an easy gauntlet
Yeah.
here. You know, if I were you guys, I'd watch out for one of your former brethren. Cody Bellinger has been really heating up over the last month or so. He got off to an ice cold start after a blistering hot spring training. He kind of left it in Tampa, I think. But he had a little bit of a back issue. He got food poisoning from some hotel wings. And
Tight.
since he kind of rebounded, he had a big home run against the Padres. And since then, he's just been cooking, man. So watch out for him. Volpe had, I think, 5 RBIs in this most recent series. Obviously, he had the grand slam last year against the Dodgers, so maybe he's, feeling confident, comfortable. We got this young guy, the Martian, who hit 3 home runs in a game a couple of weeks ago. Jason Dominguez. I have a feeling like he's one of those guys who has that clutch gene as well. He had the Yankees' first walk-off home run in, I think, 975 days or something like that. So going to be really, really fun to see, who steps up in this series. And then
I'll add to that quickly. I'd also watch Grisham against the Dodgers, because that is a kid that loves hitting against the Los Angeles Dodgers. He always has that Padres in him when it comes to that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's been slumped. He's been ice cold lately, but I'll take it. So a lot of injuries in this series. No Garrett Cole, no Blake Snell, no Luis Heel, no Tyler Glasnow. I was really psyched to see Roki Sasaki. I've only seen him pitch, a couple of times early on in the season. Tell me about his development, kind of, what you've seen from him early on in his rookie season.
It's weird with Roki, because you kind of have a false sense over his first handful of starts of who he actually is, because he kind of, I mean, this is me making my own words out of his words, but he kind of had to sack up a little bit for the Dodgers while they were going through so many pitching injuries, and he was pitching with a shoulder impingement for a little while. When he's right, when the fastball velocity is up, because it's a hittable fastball when it's down, and this is something we talked about on Dodgers territory today as well. When the velo's down, it's hittable. When it's up, it plays so nicely off of that disgusting split finger fastball that is what makes him a why so many people were in on this guy, why so many teams wanted him. So you get the velo back, and if you find a way to mix in a true third pitch, this is a dominant type. He's a 1 or 2 in a starting rotation, but for now, when he was healthy, he was a perfectly fine number 4 for these Dodgers, and I'm excited to see him come back and be healthy and get the velocity going again, because we really haven't seen it so far in the regular season when he was active.
What's up with Blake Snell? I saw that he went down rather early in the season. He got that big contract. Is he going to be out for a while, or what's the deal?
Yeah, he's throwing a baseball right now, not doing anything that's really getting him closer to returning to the active roster. But yeah, another thing, shoulder inflammation. He said he felt it towards the end of spring training and kind of felt obligated to gut through it. Hey, you just signed a big contract. You're finally playing with the Dodgers after all these years of everybody being like, hey, he's eventually going to be a Dodger one of these days, and maybe should have just kind of sat back coming out of spring training. So that was definitely a shock, I think, for everybody involved. He was somebody that this team signed to be an innings eater, to effectively lead the team in innings and starts. And like I said, like he's at like 7 innings on the season right now. So it's been a concern, but we're hoping it seems to be maybe about a month and a half. He's somebody who could conceivably rejoin the rotation. And then everybody starts to feel better, because Dodgers fans, despite the lead in the division, are still like, this is the worst team we've ever seen. We are not better than last year. Get
I'm
us Brent
familiar.
Honey. Yeah, you can never please us, never
Yeah.
please
So I
baseball
mean,
fans.
Yankees fans, we win 8 in a row, and then on the 9th game where you lose, it's, oh my God, Brian Cashman, get rid of him, get rid of him.
Why is Aaron Boone still running this team?
Right. So hey, that's just the nature of being a hardcore fan. I see that you got some bullpen names also on this injured list here: Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Michael Kopech. Is the bullpen a little bit thin right now, would you say?
There is one leverage right-handed reliever at the moment. His name is Ben Kasparius, and arguably he should be the closer. Arguably he could be in the starting rotation. The lefties in the bullpen they have been struggling. The Tanner Scott deal has not panned out great for the team so far. He just blew a save yesterday in Cleveland, and people had the torches and pitchforks very much ready to go for that one. Alex Vesia is not having the same kind of season, and it feels like some of the dudes who were there last year are sort of they still have the hangover of how much work they had to put in to win 11 games last year, and that's the price you pay. I think you give your shoulder, you give your forearm or whatever to win a World Series, what some of these guys have done. But yeah, it's really put this team in a position where there's a few no-name bodies that are in there. MLB veteran Luis Garcia somehow has made it through 2 months of being on the active roster. They just picked up Alexis Diaz today to hopefully be somebody they could send to the lab and turn him into the next Evan Phillips type or somebody like that. But the bullpen is in a world of hurt, and with the starting rotation being pretty decimated and guys going 3, 4, 5 innings, it's taxed that bullpen even further to start the season. So the one name I'm watching, yeah, I'm a Yankees fan, I'm watching Ben Kasparius, because if he gets used or he has to go 2 or 3 innings and he's out for the rest of the series, you're going to feel a lot better.
Well, maybe we can work out a deal and get you Devin Williams over there, because he has not worked out with the Yankees at all. Hey, quick word from our sponsor real quick. We'll be back in about 30 seconds with some final thoughts, and we'll make some predictions. We'll get some Nostradamus versus Nostraderek here in 30 seconds.
The weather is warming up, and with that being said, you need to check out what Rhoback is bringing to the table. If you're a golfer, especially, and you're looking for golf shirts that just have the perfect style and also are soft, they're lightweight, and perfect for the summertime, Rhoback is the spot. Of course, FT's hooking you up with a code for 20% off at rhoback.com. That's FOUL on RHOBACK.com for 20% off all shorts, hoodies, polos, and more.
All right. Well, we've had a lot of talk on this channel about whether or not the Yankees are better or worse than the team that, lost the 24 World Series. Obviously, we also lost Soto. Soto not off to such a great start with the Mets, I got to say. Last I saw, he was hitting 224. I don't know what he did today or even if they played today. But, tough time. I do think you're going to see a better Yankees team in this series than the one you saw at the end of the year. Paul Goldschmidt has been swinging a hot bat. We mentioned Bellinger. The defense has been better. The base running has been better. We're missing Gleyber Torres out of the leadoff spot. Obviously his defense will not be missed, but that kind of line drive guy that we saw in the World Series is gone. And we've got DJ LeMahieu right now kind of trying to hang on to his career. And we got a couple of guys struggling to take over the third base position. Yorbit Vivas, former Dodger, recently got called up, and he's been working on it. And Oswald Peraza, who's a great defender, but really can't hit at all. but I do think that this team could give you a little bit of a tough time. What are your predictions for this series? Who do you think is going to step up and be the guy?
As I say, I think the team, just looking at it on paper, they have it's a little more intriguing than what you saw last year, at least in my opinion. And full transparency, don't watch a lot of Yankees games. In fact, I don't really watch any Yankees games, but I do know you have a number of Dodgers killers in there. Paul Goldschmidt, longtime Dodger killer, makes me very, very frightened. Aaron Judge always plays the Dodgers well. Stay away from that. That curb there in right field, ideally. Cody Bellinger still has a chip on his shoulder against his former team. He's done big things. LeMahieu, another dude who has given the Dodgers fits in the past. Thankfully, Dodgers do have Yamamoto going up against the kind of, either Rodon or old friend Yarbrough on Sunday. But I feel like the first two games, and I'm sorry, Dodgers fans, I feel like the first two games, the Yanks look like they have the advantage. I would not be shocked to see New York, leave LA with a 2-1 series advantage.
Well, that would be, I would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
I'll take the World Series ring, though, from last year, either way.
That's fair. I'm predicting Aaron Judge it will retake the home run lead this weekend. Watch. That's my Nostra Derek prediction. You got a Nostradamus prediction there?
I'm going to steal that one as well, because Landon Knack's been a little homer prone. Tony Gonson's a little homer prone. And, you got the two homer titans playing each other. The only thing that's going to I'll say this instead. I'm going to say Shohei retains that homer lead because he's going to add to it this weekend.
Well, that'll be a fun weekend for the network and for podcasters like us. I hope to see you again at some point this fall to preview a rematch in the World Series in the Fall Classic. But everybody go check out Dodgers Territory if you're a Dodgers fan, or if you're just a fan of Clint, having watched him here. They are one of our sister podcasts here on the Foul Territory Network. Clint, I thank you so much for joining, and everybody please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
If you made it this far, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and join our community. You can also be a part of the show by calling in at 718-899-1068. Also, part of the way that we maintain and fund all of this is through nydesigns.shop. Check it out now. Get all sorts of fun Yankees merch, hats, hoodies, zip-ups, beanies, mugs, you name it. We've got it. Check it out, nydesigns.shop. And check out Pinstripe Territory on all your favorite podcast platforms. We are the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We're here for post-game shows after every single game, and we're here before a lot of games to talk about the game, preview the lineup, the pitching matchups, and things like that. And we're here all off-season to talk about the latest in Yankees rumors, news, etc. Join our community. We'll see you next time.